beanie on. What do you think of Greg's design skills?
It's super drippy, man. I like it. I ain't wearing it the right way. Oh, boom. There you go. Yeah. Support my dog. You know, so much for him and what he represents, not only for this community, not only for this team, not only for his family, but it just means a lot, for a person to have that much of an initiative, and you could tell it means something to him. I think that's the biggest thing, when people have foundations, when people have different initiatives that they do. I think from the outside looking in, people just want to care. Do you care about it? And Greg is obviously attached to it because of the ailment of his son, but it just draws anyone in even closer.
Speaking on community initiatives, you had an event on Monday. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was the seventh annual Thanksgiving Jam, and we fed upwards of 1,200 kids, but that's something that it grew last year. Just to put things into perspective, we only fed 800 kids, and half of Top Golf was, kind of still open to the public or whatnot. And Monday was rather cool because you see the whole Titan. For people who don't know it, Top Golf is kind of a big place. And from my vantage point, looking up at those kids and for them not only to get a hot meal that day, for them to go home with turkey and obviously groceries from Harris Teeter, that was big time.
Would you qualify Curtis Samuel as kind of being a situational weapon for you guys? And what does a younger guy have to do to kind of maybe see the field a little bit more?
No, I just think that's just where the game just plays out, how it plays out. It's funny, I was having a conversation the other day about DJ and Kirko and, these young guys who were making a big splash for us. I don't think Denniston would have even been capable of having the game that he had this past game, week one. He's done such a great job with being able to download what's being asked of him, being able to understand, the things that, he's supposed to do, being coachable, not only from the coach's point of view, from the player's point of view, listening to the older guys, and, it showed on Sunday. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but you've seen growth in the right spots for him and Kirko. Those guys made big boy catches. I don't care how old you are; those still are some very impressive catches, and they did it, and to help this team put us in a winning position. But I expect everybody's roles to grow. From Fun to Default to Janky, every person that we have on our fleet of receivers, or an eligible receiver, from running backs, tight ends, or whoever, the time is now.
I noticed that in your handshake with DJ Moore, it looks like you kind of say something to him as you're shaking his hand. Can you share what you tell him?
It changes. It varies. A lot of times, or sometimes, he tells me certain things, and my biggest thing for him is just focus, and it's coming from a person who has problems focusing sometimes, and I just know the more that I kind of remind myself, the more you kind of feel yourself either drifting off or drifting into a zone, and knowing that he has some God-given talent that God didn't allow a lot of people to have, and he's blessed to have that skill set, and when he's on, he's a dangerous person.
And what stands out to you about this Seahawks defense, and how do they sort of differ from the dominant groups that you guys have seen in the past?
They're still dominant. Let's not get it twisted. This team can still wreak havoc. This team can still, get after the run and get after the quarterback. They may not have the quote-unquote Legion of Boom or the players that were, I would say, the faces of the team, but this team still is capable of playing at a high level.
Yesterday, Greg was
Well,
saying,
what was annoying to lose to the Seahawks those few years, it helped to almost have like a nemesis like that to create a benchmark that you kind of had to get over.
I wouldn't call it I wouldn't give him too much credit, but you just have to understand that every game now, we're playing in games in December and November, and everything counts. I don't care who you're playing. And, when you look back, it was still the same mentality. We know one thing about Seattle, they're going to be coached extremely hard. There is never a muted point that they're going to ever give in. And, you just got to be ready to play 4 quarters of football.
yesterday, Greg was saying there are no quick fixes in the NFL. I guess it's a long, arduous process, but having said that, there's a game in 3 days. What can you fix in this short week, not a short week, but, just week to week to get better?
Fixes in what?
I don't know, Greg, we were just talking to Greg yesterday. It's like, what can you do to get better? What do you need to fix in order to get this win against Seattle? He said, well, in the NFL, there are no quick fixes. Having said that, what can you work on this week to get better that you can fix this week?
Just win.
Is there anything on the field that, you point to, like, that is a quick fix?
Win. And those quick fixes will start turning into quick accolades. So, it's no need to, rush to judgment. We understand what we have to do. Coach players always say it oftentimes in the locker room. There's no magic words. There's no magic play. There's no magic whatever that can, abracadabra, Shazam, whatever. If you're looking for that, then, go play Madden. There ain't no cheat codes here. You just got to knuckle up and get ready to play. For us, we know we just got to learn how to, number one, win on the road and find ways to win close games.
Tomorrow being Thanksgiving, was there a favorite recipe Grandma Hattie liked?
Oh, my goodness. Well, Hattie Lou Newton, she was going to cook, and she probably still cooking that German chocolate cake, amongst other things. Yeah, and she can throw down. I was fortunate enough to grow up with my grandma and my mom in the same house, so there was never a time that we didn't have a full course meal. Those days we had chicken liver now. We still had to eat it, but, it was still, we had a meat, starch, vegetable, and, potentially a dessert. And I just, look back at it, and now it's times I feel like it's changed because I know I can't cook. And I got kids to feed, so we just make the alternative fix, stop somewhere real fast and eat. But, I just thank her and my mom so much. And, I got to call her, see what she's doing. But I know she's going to throw down somewhere.
I want to go back to something that you talked about at your Thanksgiving jam about Michael Gallup. Have you been able to reach out to him since this weekend?
I haven't. And that's just something, man, my heart just drops, just even thinking about it. Because I know him. I had an opportunity to, I wouldn't say coach him, but just to have just see what he was capable of then. And now for that to happen, I'm big on personal space, and when the time's right, it'll be time for me to reach out to him.
And I know you've spoken with us a couple times about the impact that you can have just being around kids like this, because you never know what they're going to be in 10 or so years. So when you see Michael's journey from community college to Colorado State in the league, what does something like that mean to you?
It's big. It's very impactful because a lot of times people assume you were fed a silver spoon, and even when people look at my story and when you really dig down deep, you're going to be like, oh, he did this, he did that, you know what I'm saying? And it's a wonder. I never take the person who I am today for granted because I've seen life through so many different lenses, and I always say it. But to see kids or people that you've impacted along the way, whether it was from a brief moment or, you know, somebody or your younger brother, it still doesn't matter. Any type of growth, and you can attest that to yourself, not only, I mean, not on the premise of you want the credit, but something that you can say, I helped. You know, that's why I, you know, started my foundation for it, you know, for stories like that. You know, he's a one testimony of really hundreds of kids who, you know, I just recently had one of our kids, you know, go to the Army, you know what I'm saying? And you know, even though it's not the NFL, it's not a Division I college, he's doing something productive that can you know, create change in a positive way. So I'm just as happy as anything else.
Being a positive role model to kids when they are so young and when they're in their formative years, as they are when you see them in your 7-on-7 events, how can that impact the conversation about growing up with strong role models and focusing on mental health and kind of making the right decisions and right choices?
Well, and it was the Air Force, not the Army, the Air Force. But to answer your question, I try to do things that I'm passionate about. And with that said, the thing that may be disheartening, I use the game of football to lure a lot of people to my foundation. My biggest impacts, I would want to say, is like the Thanksgiving jams or the Christmas with Cams. You know, my biggest impacts are my 7-on-7 All-Star teams, because I have more of a lashed-on relationship with them. I'm at practice. They get to talk to me then. We go on college tours. They get to talk to me and be around me then. It gets to the point where they don't see Cam Newton as the NFL star. They just see me as the joking coach or big brother or person that's just around trying to help them get to the next level. So when we do go places and people start asking, you know, can I take a picture? Can I do this? Can I do that? And it's like, oh, man, that's just Cam, man. I don't know how you do it, coach. Man, you taking all these, you know, I heard it so many times, but when you know you're genuinely in it to help rather than flipping the script, and you see in another program or you see other people trying to latch on to people that say, well, if you go to this school or you go to that school, you know, how am I getting benefited? That's what you don't like. And I just hope every person sees that or kind of get that. Not only, you know, by educating the players, you know, my parents do a great job with trying to educate the parents too, because a lot of times these kids are the first time, you know, college enrollees in their family. So, you know, we try to do so much arithmetic with educating from school books, SAT, ACT prep, and the list goes on.
I think Mike said he told the Dallas paper after y'all exchanged jerseys that he was like, I can't believe he still remembers me.
Yeah.
This is cool. Was there just something about him at that 7-on-7 that made you, I guess, hang on to his career and follow
He
his
was,
career?
man, and if you guys don't, I mean, if you follow Cam Newton 7v7 on Instagram, you will see it's one of many different, you know, testimonies, you know, from kids who are at universities right now calling, you know, a rep from my foundation asking, should I come out? Should I go to the NFL? What's the agent process like? You know, I'm thinking about transferring. You know what I'm saying? What junior college should I go to? What school should I? You know, it's deeper than just football. You know, we really have good relationships with people, and everybody from Michael Gallup's year to Deshaun's year to this past year that just left know that I don't need nothing. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to see you get to where I am, and when you get there, you do the same things that I'm doing and giving back.
Cam, I think the Seahawks have been able to consistently force turnovers throughout this season and in the past whenever you guys were playing them. Why were they so effective at doing that, and what do you have to do to sort of avoid that this weekend?
They get after the quarterback. That's what they do extremely well, and they're very opportunistic in that. You know, we just got to find ways to you know, create favorable matchups for us, and it's hard to do with a defense that you know what they're going to be in. They know they know you know what they're going to be in, but they just play so fast and rally around the football. So for us, it's just going to be about, which team can execute, which team can protect the ball better, and who can score.
So one thing you feel like you guys are doing at home better than you're doing on the road to make you so much more successful at home?
Yeah, that's an advantage in itself. Playing in front of, your home field is so much fine print that you don't see. You don't travel. It's not a day you really have to really focus in and do that. You can treat longer. Your practice schedule is not altered as much when you have to travel the next day. Comfort level and sleeping in your own bed, whatever. What have you. It's so many different things, but at the end of the day, we just got to be better on, when we're not at home. Whatever that comfort is for us, we just got to translate it for every game, whether home or away.
Cam, I know you guys are focused on yourselves all the time, but is there a point in the season where you become more kind of acutely aware of what other people in the conference are doing in terms of playoff positioning?
Yeah.
Is that, when is that?
Huh?
At what point is it now? Is this too early to start thinking about?
No, week 1. When you win, you looking at the Buccaneers, see if they won. You looking at the Saints, see if they won. Seeing if the Falcons, if they won. When you lose, you seeing if the Buccaneers lost. You seeing if the Falcons lost. You seeing if the Saints lost. Simple as that. Our number one goal for this year is to win a division, and we still can do that.
What about like else? Because you're playing the Seahawks, obviously they're 5-5. They're right behind you guys. I mean, is that? And are you paying attention to wild card and things like that? And
when we win, we paying attention to see if the Saints won or the Falcons won or the Buccaneers won. If we lose, we want to see if the Saints lost, the Buccaneers lost, or the Falcons lost. That's pretty much all that matters. It starts with our division first, and then when you win your division, there's a highly likely chance that you're going to the playoffs. Then everything else falls in how they may.
The thing is, the Saints aren't losing, so when you've seen them, I guess, what is so impressive about them, and how tough will it be to catch them?
We ain't playing the Saints, so it's irrelevant. Thank you.
all right.